I think we're live.
Are we live?
Are we live? We're live.
I
I
see
can
it.
drink this coffee. Okay, good.
I see a live button. I think we're live.
I think we are. Yes, I see us. Are we live? We're live.
I need to
I
mute
hear
my
us now too.
channel. Good morning and welcome, friends on the internet, and my Diascast gaming friends. How's everybody doing this morning?
Fantastic.
Caffeinated.
Yes, very caffeinated.
Oh man, I
It has
didn't
been a
even
week.
I didn't even get a full one in me yet this morning, so we'll have to make up for lost time after we wrap this chat
This is
here.
true.
So, but before we begin, let me say hi to a lot of wonderful people I see in the chat. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Mathieu, looks French to me. Hello, and Miss Jen is with us. Miss Val over in France is with us. Miss Jen's over from Tennessee.
Ooh.
Lottie's over in the UK. Hello.
Hey, Lottie.
John Belden is over in the UK. Happy to get you a stream that's not at 3 a.m. your time. So thank you all for making the time to join us here at a more
Yeah, he's
reasonable
starting
hour.
off his weekend with us now. It's like 7 p.m. there. Yeah.
Yeah. So happy Friday evening to you all over there. Mr. Jeff Burns, hello.
Hey, Jeff.
And who else we got here? Miss Faye over in the UK. I'll be seeing some of these wonderful folks when I pop over to London next weekend. God, that's coming
Ooh.
fast. And for the EGX Gaming Con. So I look forward to meeting you all. Rita's here and Mr. Ghosty. What is up? Mr. Tommy. T.I. Isley's here. Hey, buddy. Sylvina. And the old CMC fans. Miss Tammy and all the people who are part of that wonderful group. Howdy, friends. Thank you for joining us. As you know, we're kicking off our Diascast Gaming live stream next Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. I got this spamming in the crawler here on this YouTube live and pinned to the comments. So if you haven't, please go over, give us a follow. Check it out. If you can watch us live, that's always the best way. But I know our schedule is a little bit late for a lot of you around the world. So feel free to check the replay, and we'll have these sessions live up on YouTube as well. That we'll share that link. So anyway, I have with me this morning Jake, and this is always a tough one. Ynzunza. Am I getting it
Ynzunza.
right?
No, you got it last time. Nicely done. Nicely done. Well
Okay.
done. Yeah.
Jake is, and I'll just do a quick intro around here. Jake is our dungeon master. So he is our referee, our narrator. He came up with this D&D campaign all by himself. Complete original campaign that we'll be playing through as players. This is called a homebrew, which means he brewed it up at home. And we're very excited about it because it's in a familiar yet unfamiliar place in the D&D universe called the Border Kingdoms. So we're excited to explore what he's got in store for us, and we'll chat with Jake more in a second about that. But Miss Lindsay Russo is also with us. You have seen her and heard her acting, voiceover acting all over the place. Good friend. You know, me and Lindsay play in another campaign that we're coming to a close at someday, D&D player. So she's going to be playing a character alongside me in this, but the three of us are core producers on this project. So thank you, Jake and Lindsay, for joining us. I'm so glad to introduce you to everybody here.
Yeah, we're
Thank
excited
you.
to be here.
Yeah,
And
very
hello
much
to
so.
all of Chad's amazing friends. He talks about you guys all the time and just says that you are like the best fans ever. So
I mean,
we're
Oh,
excited.
I've got a
really
buddy
are.
I've got a buddy in the chat right now from Seattle, JM Dubs. Good to see you, brother.
Woot!
Jim Dubs, thanks for joining. So this is just going to be casual. We're just going to kind of chat about our campaign. Maybe take some questions from the chat. I know that a lot of the people that I recognize here.
DC is here.
Yeah, I was
DC
about to
is
mention
here.
that. Yeah, DC is
Hey,
here.
buddy. Hello, DC. DC is our wonderful technical producer who's going to make this, put all sorts of fancy spit polish on it to make it real slick for everybody who's going to tune in live and watch us. So
Yeah.
transitions, maps, musics, effects, all sorts of fun things to make this as interactive and immersive as we possibly can. So we're lucky to have DC. Happy to see him there in the chat. And DC, if you're camera ready, you can come join us anytime, buddy. I sent you a message if you'd like. So, but let's get into it. So as you all know, I'm a big D&D nerd. It's blurred out right now, but behind me is one of my many D&D nerd shelves. It's no secret that I'm a huge D&D fan, and what's been nice is I've been able to turn a lot of you all onto the hobby of D&D, and that's been one of our goals with the Dice Cast Gaming is to bring you really entertaining live play D&D, but also to encourage people to pick up the hobby and to try it on for themselves.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to bring a lot of other content to you, similar to what I did on my own stream months ago, to help you understand the game better and to help create a character, figure out what D&D is all about. For those that want to get adventurous and try to run a D&D game, it's not for the weak. It's not for the faint-hearted. Just ask Jake. I've done it. Fun. Jake's done it. It can be done. I know Lottie in the chat here is going to run her first game this weekend, so she's a little bit anxious about that, but no doubt she's going to slay it. So let's kick it off. Let's start with something simple. Jake, you were in charge of the logo design. We came up with this name sort of together, but I think Jake kind of spearheaded this
for a couple weeks.
Yeah, this idea. And I've got the screen share up. This is the logo. It's pretty fun. You had a bunch of original art and logo made, to help us with our branding. Tell us a quick story behind this.
Kind of just like as we were just sort of talking about, what this is going to be. I don't know, like I'm not a designer myself, but I like the idea of incorporating that sort of creation. Sorry, this is going to get very like in the weeds, not like, Ken Burns type stuff, but like, no, I love the fact that we're kind of like incorporating the bag of dice, which was very hard to get right. And it's probably as close as it can be to right, but to have like a dice bag and kind of have like that the molten core sort of like flowing out, creating our very well-known polyhedral dice that we'll be playing with. I don't know. I think I love the fact that working with artists, we found this artist here. I don't have their name right now, but we're gonna post it in our show.
It's Gavin. Yeah, he's fantastic. He's done a ton of logos for me and a couple other people I know. So
yeah, it looks wonderful.
I can get his handle if I need to.
A big thing that like as you mentioned, Shad, like I found this. We found this guy on like Instagram, and they have their own Patreons and Fivers, and it's just so cool to see what the community is now versus even like 6 years ago when I first started doing all this.
I'm blown away by and I'm a nerd. I follow, especially on Instagram, like because I run games like you. I play in a lot of games, and so I'm a nerd for like maps. And so I follow the D&D map hashtag, and I see these incredible artists creating these incredible pieces of art. James RPG Art has these like animated maps I was using for my Curse of Strahd campaign, and they're like dirt cheap on his Patreon. It's really incredible what these artists do, and we'll show you not just this logo, but a lot of you all have become familiar with our D&D character art that we had made by a wonderful artist over in Italy, I think, right, Lindsay? This was
Lorenzo,
right? Yeah.
Yes, Lorenzo.
I will
Magalotti or something. I'm probably
try and find his. I'm putting. I just put Gavin's in the chat. I'm looking for Lorenzo's right now.
Yeah. So this is great, and what I love about the logo is it's we're playing on Die is Cast, as in like a tool shop, like Die. It's you've got the molten liquid, almost dwarvish style coming out and forming our dice. Hopefully those fancy orange die are very kind to us, but we will see.
Or Elvish, or any other, you never know.
Yep.
Could be. So thanks for that story. This is cool. I love our logo, man. I think it's super cool. It's like the rest of the world doesn't care as much as you care about your logo, but it's important to us. And I think it represents.
But that's one of the things about D&D is everyone talks about, like, the math and the world building and blah blah blah. But it is such a community of artists, like we said, you know, like the map makers and the character creators, and then the dice makers and the mini builders, and it's just like there's so much opportunity for all different types of artistic expression.
Well, look at what Lottie said in the chat. She's like, she had to draw her own maps, and she said, "I'm no artist. Like, I just simply can't do it." And for me, I love virtual like animated maps, putting props in, and that's just how my brain works. And some people just draw incredible maps, or even just like functional maps. I can't even do functional maps.
Well, and there's some good I'd have to look up what it is, but there's some good digital resources now for building maps and stuff.
So many.
Yeah, it's really incredible what these people come up with. And thanks. I'm scrolling through the chat. Matthew is saying hello to Lindsay specifically.
Well, fine.
Tommy is makes a good point. He's like, all he knows about D&D is from Stranger Things. And I love that Stranger Things has kind of put D&D.
Yeah, the OG D&D. I mean, we're talking the red box D&D in Stranger Things, which it is changed a bit, but still core is there.
Yeah, so it's really great, and I think that so that's the main logo. You know, we've got our little thumbnail logo, which is super adorbs here, and I'm going to do a little bit of screen sharing, so everybody in the chat bear with me. As I was telling Jake and Lindsay, I'm no damn expert in these lives, so we're going to do our best to screen share as much as we can and give you all a taste of what's going on here. But we'll move over into, since we're on the topic of art, we'll move over into some of the character stuff. And I think that a lot of people have seen some of the character art we had made up for our game. We just mentioned the artist. His name is Lorenzo, based out of Italy. Did a fantastic job for us for the 4 players and their characters. So here's, I'll start off with mine. This is Sir Alexei Becketson. And I suppose it's a good time to talk about the character, you know. And Alexei is, I'm such a sword and board knight nerd, you know, knight with a K. Everybody knows that I'm a huge knight nerd. So I decided to create a paladin, which is more of a holy knight or a knight devoted to a cause. And it's one of my favorite classes in D&D to play. And I've played it in many other campaigns. So I really wanted to play it for this campaign because I'm not just playing from home. I'm playing for an audience, and I wanted to represent my favorite class of character in D&D. So I chose Paladin, and Alexei here, as you can see, is, you know, your standard, what they call a tank. You know, he's built to take some damage. He's built to protect others. Big old shield, long sword. I love this art. You know, I got a little cute, and I made a mishmash of my Brandon Beckett sniper character from the films, and I combined that with Alex from Call of Duty, and I came up with Alexei Becketson. Not the most original thing ever, but I tried to get some touches and some flair that represented both of those characters put together, because they're modern day military characters, and Alexei is an old school military character, you know, come with a martial background, serving in armed forces in the medieval fantasy setting. So that's kind of my inspiration. A little bit more about Alexei. He and me and Jake had fleshed out a lot of really fun stuff for his backstory and everything else, what makes him tick. And we've got him as a devotee to the goddess Tamora. Tamora is the goddess of luck and good fortune. So he's kind of a carpe diem, seize the day type of happy-go-lucky optimist who's seen some battle, who's seen some soldiering, but now he wants to go off into the world and make a reputation for himself, doing good across the land, and you know, seeing the best in things and people, and being curious and always down for an adventure. So we will share some kind of hopefully not too naive optimism from Alexei as we go the campaign. I can't guarantee anything. But since Lindsay's here with us, let's move over to her fantastic character.
Yeah, which is behind me, but I'm sure, you'll pull up a big. I have to send you the yeah. So like my character is not based on myself. Well, it kind of is. Like Chad is a big sword and board person. I am a big fan of the rogue class. I like to be the person that can scurry in and scurry out and stab people in the back and things like that. So I am playing what will become a swashbuckling rogue. So my character, I always love to play around with names as well. My character was loosely based on the very famous Irish pirate queen, Grace O'Malley, which is how I got her name, Mally Drebany. So she, if you don't know who this pirate woman is, she's amazing. Look her up. Yeah. So I worked with Jake to help create her backstory, because I love when I'm doing long campaigns to really work with the DM to try and find ways that my character can really fit into the world that they are creating. And so I do have quite a few connections to what Jake has created. Like, my character is actually from the region in which we're starting. And like Chad, she has very high charisma, but it's a different type of charisma. So I'll be very interested to see how those two work together. But she, as you can see, she's a tiefling. She's a tiefling variant. So she actually has wings on her back, because I just thought it would be fun that someone who works on ships, can sorry, I have a new kitten and I'm trying to train her.
Cat familiar.
I love that she can maybe like fly up to fix the rigging and so forth. But
for those who don't, I would say for those who don't know, a tiefling is.
Yeah, I was gonna add that.
Oh yeah. So a tiefling, as you can see, she's got the horns, but they are basically derived from dragons. They're kind of like hybrid dragon humans. So they're not like dragonborn, if you're familiar with, the Dragonlance series or something like that. But they do have dragon blood in them. So because of that,
demon blood.
Sorry, demon blood, dragon blood.
Different D.
Different D. Like I said, it's Friday. So they do have demon blood in them, which kind of gives them some really cool, like, I am resistant to fire. So which is I think something to play with. And I did actually give myself a challenge for this, because I was like, hey, Jake, is there going to be firearms in this world? And I've never played in a campaign where firearms was allowed. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to give her a musket. So that's going to be a fun challenge to me, to like learn the mechanics of using firearms. But as you can see, she also has a sword. But she's a very charismatic person. She kind of is in charge of a lot of the smuggling that goes on through the region, and she works with some of the nefarious groups, but she also has learned to work with a lot of the wealthy people, because she's kind of the face between the smugglers and then the wealthy people buying kind of a lot of these illicit materials, parts from monsters that have been killed. And her mothers are these big demon hunters that, kill monsters and sell their parts off. But she's also on a mission to eventually, like, she's tired of working for people. She wants to work for herself, be her own boss. So her dream is to build her own ship and run everything herself. But as we'll find out, things aren't going according to plan. And so I think she's going to have to find some help with perhaps a good group of people to kind of figure out what's going on. And, I had a shirt on. She's not evil, right? A lot of people think tieflings are bad and evil. And, thankfully Wizards has kind of reframed the structure on good characters and bad characters. So she's more like the chaotic neutral character, and that she's kind of out for herself, but she still has a moral compass, and she definitely stands up for the little guy, and isn't above fleecing the wealthy. So I think she's going to be a fun character to play.
That's great. I love it, and people are kind of going nuts with the chat. Lottie's saying that tiefling is her favorite.
Yay!
Favorite race.
I've never played a tiefling before, so this will be fun for me too. I always like to do new things too, to give myself a challenge.
Yeah, it's just like for some of the players who are new to D&D and the concepts, it's just very basically, it's a group of adventurers that come together, try to work together to solve problems, go on quests, adventures, etc., etc. And really what you want to have is some balance in the party. You don't want everyone to be the same and to do the same things, because what makes everyone unique provides for opportunities to help each other and to overcome the obstacles. So, whereas my character is going to, rush into the front lines of battle, and he's armored up for that. We've got a character like Mally who is either going to sit back and pick people apart with her little hand musket here, or sneak from the shadows and maybe get a few backstabs in.
I got my swords, and I will say I have dual blades, so I'll be able to like get a couple hits in if I need to. Yeah.
We'll say though that little hand musket, little pistole, doesn't exactly reload quickly.
No,
so
and that's
it's not going to be like an RCP 90 or whatever, or like whatever COD gun we've got.
It's a process. So needless to say, she has daggers hidden in places, because at the end of the day, I just saw the Woman King. I went to a press screening of it because I had to write a review of it. And I encourage everyone to see it. The reason I bring it up is because they actually have a great battle between a tribe that has firearms and they all have machetes, and they show just how worthless the rifles can be in up close combat, because it's like shoot, reload, and by then your head is chopped off by a machete.
You're done. Well, thank you, Lindsay. I know everybody's always entertained by watching a rogue in action. They're such a fun class, and also rogues are pretty good at discovering and disarming traps. So that's an amazingly handy skill to have when you're dungeon delving or anything else. So I've been saved by a rogue many times with their handy skills. So we don't have two of the players with us today, but we can certainly give you a little background on the characters they're going to play. This is Pelly. Is Pelly Nimbletoes? Is that it?
Pelly Nimbletoes. That's correct.
And she's a ranger, correct?
She is a halfling ranger. I can speak a
and
little bit to it. If you
well, people don't know what a halfling is. Another OG kind of original old school race for D&D. Halflings are, if you think of hobbits, it's the best way I can describe them. If anybody, Lord of the Rings fans, hobbits are shorter, a little stouter, like their food and drink. Can be quite nimble and dexterous. And so Pelly is played by our Andi Norris. I'll just show Andi. This is what Andi gets up to when she's not playing D&D. Really highly regarded, I think, motion capture artist. I haven't had the pleasure of getting to know Andi too well yet, but I'm sure I will as we adventure together.
She specializes in creature movements and the things. I don't mean this in a sick way, but the things she can do with her body are amazing. If
you played Resident Evil Village, she's the doll.
She does the
and
doll,
she was in Obi-Wan as one of the. She's a Jedi. I mean,
oh my gosh, how fun!
Yeah, her and I go back to when we both lived in Seattle, and we were doing fringe theater and doing independent films up there. So yeah, Andy's a good friend and amazing talent.
We're lucky to have her, and I mean, look, the Ranger is the first class I ever played in a Lost Mines of Phandelver campaign, just because I love it. And Lindsay, you played an unbelievable Ranger in the campaign that we played together.
Yeah, the campaign you played. And Ranger was also I was the dork that was like, I'm a Wood Elf Ranger the first time I played D&D, because I was like, I just want to be, Legolas.
Yeah. I mean, Aragorn, Legolas, it's, all the archetypes that make Rangers cool. And I think Rangers are relevant again. Relevant.
They were kind of shit on for a while, but then
I was going to say they're functional now. They work now, which is great.
They really are.
Yeah, and that, just speaking to Rangers, for those that don't know, the Ranger class is fun. Actually, when I did a little bit of a half-assed, like, this is how you make a D&D character stream. We created a Ranger, and Lottie here in the chat, she picked Ranger and we made a Ranger, and they're fun. Obviously you can get a Ranger with a longbow and pick people apart, but if you need survival skills, if you need to handle yourself in the wilderness, tracking, foraging, all these other things, kind of commune with nature. Some Rangers have pets and beasts that they command, or they can get up close and personal as well. One of my favorite D&D characters and this is just me nerding out. 1 second. Dris du Erden from the novels and the books and the whatever.
Yes.
My camera is not going to cooperate.
It's blurred. Yeah.
Blurred, damn it.
So bad. Oh, there it is. Oh, come on.
That is old school D&D right
awful.
there. The Drist
That is
books
terrible.
are
Maybe if it's not shiny. Yeah. Okay. This is not going to work very well. This is fail all around. Anyway, Drizzt Duerden and his ethereal panther, Venvar. I can't pronounce it.
I know.
Nailed it.
But it like jumps in and out of his pendant, right? It's a pendant, isn't it? Yeah.
No, it's a statue.
Oh, it's the statue. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a ranger that gets like up close and personal with two blades that he had named with like Twinkle and like Icing Death or some crazy stuff like this. Anyway, classic like character from the old D&D novels, which I used to nerd out on and still nerd out on. So rangers are sweet. It looks like she's gearing up for a lot of hot longbow action, Pelly here. So
short bow.
Gotta have a range fighter.
Yeah, longbow on a halfling would be like trying to hold
that's
that
true.
thing, you know.
That's true.
She's
all day.
She's actually a really fun concept that Andi and I talked about, where she kind of comes from a secluded part of the area, southern part of Faerun, which is the continent that we're playing on effectively. And it's like a quasi-desert-y area, really high magic and dangerous. And so she's kind of like left this secluded tribe and wants to kind of venture out. And I'll let Andi obviously play her own character and talk about it. But no, we had a lot of fun putting this together. So
yeah, well, we're looking forward to it. I don't think I've ever seen a halfling ranger before, so that's a really fun.
Because halflings are usually like rogues or clerics or something. Happens. Yeah,
but you can be anything in D&D.
Anything.
Literally anything, and we have.
Speaking of clerics,
our fourth player who couldn't join us today is Milynn. This is a picture of Milynn that she sent over.
the only real life elf I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Elf and mermaid and all these other amazing things.
She's a really, really, really well-known, cosplayer, Twitch streamer, entertainer. So she's out playing with horses today.
Yes.
So this is pretty true to this picture. So she couldn't join us today, but Milynn is playing. Let me find the art for Milynn. Where is your art? There it is. This adorable little druid. I don't know if it's a high elf druid, I believe. So I can't remember the name. What is the name of her character again, Jake?
Kistel.
Kistel with a Q, I think.
Yeah, that's correct.
So she's playing kind of from what I understand, a kind of naive, new to the world, new to the real world, modern world, druid, from the forest, on kind of a secret quest of her own. And for those that don't know druids, they're a super fun, very adaptable, flexible class, kind of in tune with the rangers, but spell casting, shape shifting into beasts, all sorts of stuff that kind of draws on nature and the elements. Really, really, really fun class to play. So we're gonna see what Kistel gets up to. I feel like every druid has like a beast of choice to kind of wild shape or shape shift into, and we will see what her go-to beast is.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun, and Milynn has done this a lot. She's been on a number of streams. She's very much ingrained with like the D&D community, and she's also just like a really wonderful, lovely person. So getting to kind of like play this and letting her play into the fun of it is really awesome to like be part of. But she's pretty damn clever player, so I'm looking forward to trying to outwit her.
We play in a home game together, and it's actually a League of Legends D&D game. So we're all playing League of Legends characters, and her character is just like this very aloof sorcerer. So I'm very excited to see her playful side in this.
Yeah, we've done a couple of player tests and tech rehearsal type things. So it's always been really fun to get us all together and have a couple of warm-up sessions. So I think we're all going to hit it off and play very nicely together, which is
I mean, Jake, you're the DM, but I feel like we have a pretty balanced group.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think a lot of times people tend to go higher in player count, and it's. I mean, I think 4 to 5 is the sweet spot. I play in a home game with 6, sometimes 7 people, and it can be hard, especially if you know. I think for those purposes, you know, like we'll say, like Critical Role does an amazing job of like pacing it for that many players, but it's certainly when you have a little like a 4 or 5, you have a better chance to give more moments to each character, and combat hopefully won't take 4 to 5 hours. We'll see. So yeah, I think with our group though, effectively, you know, druids are, I mean, not often thought about this, but they're great. They're a great healing class.
Yeah.
So it just because, oh no, you don't have a cleric, you're all gonna die. Like, well, that's not true. There are many things when we have our paladin, we have our druid.
Well, and rangers have some healing capabilities as well,
Yeah.
if they choose to. Yeah.
You've got range, you've got flexibility, you've got spellcasters, and you've got sneaky people. So I mean, and a hard hitter tank. So I think we're doing okay, and we might be having a guest or two drop in the future as a potential 5th player, or as a you know, tag out if someone, you know, books a job or has, you know, a convention or something like that. So
yeah, I'm excited about those possibilities. We've got a really great list of guest players to hopefully, if schedules align, pop in and join us. Some people you may recognize, some people that we're excited to introduce you to. But let's and I'll just quickly shout out, of course, these amazing emotes that Rachel made artwork.
So to JM and Rita's point, we are actually going to be doing shorter than normal streams. So for those of you who do watch D&D streams regularly, you know they can be like 4 to 5 hours. Ours are going to be a little bit shorter because those are 1, intense, and 2, we're very busy people.
and it also is a different style of play to a point, you know, where I mean, my home game, I'll be very honest, and please don't do this yet if you don't, unless you want to. I'm not your dad. We play 6-hour games.
Yeah, I've done that before. Yeah,
we do that every week, and we've done that for 2 years. So we're a little, you know, but it's a different style. Like we could have a 3-hour shopping episode, and I'm not sure. I don't think I really want to do that in this one. So
yeah, we're gonna try and get stuff done, as they say, because you know, for those that play D&D, you can certainly get into rascal territory where you're just wasting an hour and a half with one shopkeeper, and it's like, okay, you know, there's at the end of the day, we all know there's a dragon to slay, so we got to make some moves towards it.
It could be fun.
It's going to help that much.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Julia Roth is in the chat.
Miss Julia is here. For those that have seen some of the posts that we've done, Miss Julia works with geekgirlauthority.com. She's done some wonderful interviews and some wonderful pieces for us to promote our stream, which we're very, very grateful for. Julia, the pieces are amazing. People have enjoyed them. So really, really nice to see you here. And thank you again for all the support for our stream. And we can't wait for you to watch it too and hear what you think.
And also has the best taste and hair color. So
Truth.
Hey now, I'm a purple girl. So
sorry, girl. Sorry.
I just got a haircut, so my hair color is scalp around the side. Some bony white. So the emotes are great.
Yeah,
and for those for those here that follow Twitch streams, who have checked out my Twitch streams in general, you know, we've got a great number of followers already out of the gates, and you know, big thank you to all that followed here. And if you haven't, check the pinned comment at the top to go follow our Twitch stream. It's in the crawler here as well, twitch.tv/thediascastgaming. We appreciate any follows. What we're trying to do is get to affiliate status on Twitch as soon as possible, because then we can make these amazing emotes available to you. And these are just the cutesy character emotes, but we've also got really fun ones that Rachel made for us. I will try and get them. She's got a lot of folders. Hold on, I gotta find. Oh yeah, here we go. Look at these.
Oh, I haven't even seen these. These are so cute.
No? I put them in one of the
I
reels.
probably just missed it.
So are we
yeah,
gonna brand this as Critty? Our
Critty.
our mascot?
Our
Oh my
mascot?
gosh.
No, please
we
no.
have
I have bad
plushies?
ideas.
Can we have
I have bad
plushies? I
ideas.
want a little plushie.
Yeah, and this is I'm trying to be conscious because you know what's fun is like us D&D nerds get together and we just deep dive into the nerdy stuff. So I'm trying to be conscious that a lot of people haven't played or are new to the game. So the inspiration behind these emotes here is that you know, everything works off of a D20. Not everything, but the D20 is the most popular die you're going to roll to determine so many things that happen in the game. A 20 is almost always amazing. And, you know, that's if you're attacking someone and you roll a 20, it's an automatic hit. You get to do double the damage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It triggers a lot of really fun things. And I would say, you know, and Jake and Lindsay back me up here, that one is almost always universally terrible.
Terrible, and I think the most fun.
Disappointing. Yeah, fun too.
Because you can kind of play into a flaw, or you can play into circumstances that are just bad.
Yep.
Yeah. Or it could be like, I'm gonna, you know, try to get a deal on this item. Let's say we're shopping. Sorry. And you try to convince them, you get a 1. They might say, you know what? I actually promised this for somebody else, and they put it away or something like that. So not like groundbreaking, or you could maybe die. So
Right.
kind of.
Or you're shooting and you roll a 1 and you end up shooting your party member in the back of the head, which happened in Chad and I's game. I think I did that twice.
That's, you know, and maybe we'll see some of this, you know, from Jake or just as we go. The 20 is great. It's great for a player usually. The 1 is, and so where crit comes from is like, it's a critical hit on a 20, a critical hit if you roll a 20, or if you roll a 1, that's a critical failure. So that's where you're seeing crit, that's where you're seeing fail, and that's obviously there's happy and there's very sad accordingly. But it does allow for a lot of opportunities. You know, it's up to the dungeon master's discretion, but, you know, like Lindsay was referencing our dungeon master in a different game. You know, the ranger or the rogue wants to take a shot with the short bow to hit an enemy, and rolls a 1, you know, and they just kind of make up on the fly that like, you shot so terribly that you actually hit your ally in the back. So roll for damage as an arrow sticks out of your friend's back. So it's really allows for a lot of open opportunities to play with the 20s and the 1s at the DM's discretions, of course.
There's some interesting precedent too, when some DMs will be like, yes, absolutely, and some DMs will stay far away from it. Is say you roll a 1, your weapon might break, and that's a lot. I mean, like, you are now without something that you absolutely need. So sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. I try not to be that cruel, but yeah, there are some interesting opportunities to where maybe what you have is disabled or damaged.
I've used them in the past, and I don't know if you have, Jake, but there's entire like websites devoted to critical hit or critical fail tables.
Yep.
So it's basically like, you know, if a player rolls a 1, that's bad. There's entire websites devoted to, you know, at random, have one of these negative effects happen to them. Like your weapon breaks, or, you know, you come up lame and you pull your hamstring, and so you lose half your movement. You know, there's all sorts of crazy stuff.
Long-term injuries, those sorts of things
like,
too.
It's like the wild magic table, but for failures.
Yeah, so it gets pretty wild. It's pretty fun.
Wild magic, you say? Interesting.
Wild magic.
Talk about chaos.
That's Critty. Everyone meet Critty. He's adorable.
I love Critty.
All right.
And then we got yeah, we can't do where's our friends? The dragons. We can't forget the dragons. Because look, we're playing Dungeons. It's in the name, Dungeons and Dragons. You got to have a dragon. So we had some expressive little dragon emotes here made up as well. Again, Rachel made artworks to these fantastic things.
Yeah, so good.
So, you know, standard stuff, you know, it's for people to throw around in the chat when they're happy or they're aggro or they're throwing a party or someone dies. You know, anybody sees me playing on the Twitch stream, I'm always, spamming the angry Alex emote because, Call of Duty, I just get shredded. So I'm always just doing that.
You're not the best?
I'm not the
number
best
one
at all, even close. I'm not even, probably not even the best in my own, household.
I'm so much worse than you, I'm sure.
Probably do a better job than me if it fired it up. So these are these are great, and we're really excited to bring these to you. The emotes and badges. It's a feature unique to Twitch. So we've checked one of the hurdles, which is to get over 50 followers. So again, thank you for everybody who's followed. The next hurdle is we've got to get some streams up for you on some different days and a certain number of hours, and then we'll be approved for affiliate status. And from there, we could take generous donations and subscriptions, and you all can unlock these amazing emotes. So we're super excited to have them at the ready, and we're hoping to push for affiliate ASAP to
tell your friends
in your collection. Yeah, so
tell your enemies.
That too.
Yeah, they're super dupes adorbs. I think that's because we had 4 players, then we had our Critty, and then we had the dragons.
It's a
and
thing
I think
now.
that does it for the emotes here and whatever else. But let's turn it over to Jake for a minute and let him take the floor. This is another thing that I think Jake had made up, and I think it's fair to say, because it's been in the articles and whatever else, that we're going to a place called the Border Kingdoms, which all of us as players don't know very much about because you don't see it in the typical games and campaigns. But Jake is very familiar with it and has made this homebrew original campaign set in the Border Kingdoms. And we're ready to rock. This is a city crest, and I'll let you talk more about it.
Yeah. So where we're going is probably one of the most western parts of the Border Kingdoms. That's not quite the Border Kingdoms, which is not to confuse things, but it's called the City of Yalash, or the city where one feels watched, or the Watch City. This is a really fascinating place. I love D&D for obviously the cool locations, and I mean not only dungeons and other cities and whatnot, but there's also just some cool geography. And what I like about the Watch City is that it kind of combines 2 of those things, or even 3. It's a city that is built onto a cliff. So it's actually like a vertical city that looks out over a sea. It's massive and it's tall, and it's actually the only way to really get in is by boat. And they have these chains, like a canal, and they can stop incoming ships from the top. There's only one entrance, and that is sort of blocked off by this gigantic living forest that is incredibly hard to traverse. A little bit of the history about this itself. You've got the hammer and the needle, and this is called out in the Border Kingdoms campaign guide, which it's glossy, so it's showing up, which is great.
You're having the same problem as me.
Oh yeah. What's really cool, since there's in that book, there's only a little bit of information given about Yalash. So what we've been able to really do, I'm really, really proud of this. We've worked with Alex Kamer, who co-wrote this book, and also Ed Greenwood. And for those that are maybe not familiar, Ed Greenwood created the campaign setting that we're playing in. The campaign setting that you see when you go on to D&D Beyond, the Forgotten Realms. So the fact that we can send this art asset or the map for the city or an artist sort of rendering of the city over to Ed and Alex and have them say, this is amazing, or this is, this is cooler than I even imagined it. It kind of makes my nerd heart explode into a million pieces. So that's been so much fun. And kind of with this, we really wanted to give this, not only the players, but also the audience, just this really cool sort of symbol to kind of go back to, but we want to give you a sense of place too. this is a city where, and you'll find out where it's a city where one feels watched. You kind of have to traverse it differently, and there's going to be an element of this. It's going to be a little bit different from what you expect from other D&D campaigns. And I love the area because we see so much of the Forgotten Realms, but we only see a small sliver of space, and it's Waterdeep, it's Baldur's Gate, it's a Sword Coast. So to put it somewhere else, and not just for no reason, but to have such a eclectic sort of like variety of environments is really going to make this feel different.
Including the Underdark. We also have the Underdark as an option.
Yeah.
So we can really go anywhere.
This city especially, they built into the rock, into the cliff. So you'll have like tunnels that go inside and maybe branch off into the Underdark, which is like this underworld filled with all kinds of like really weird malformed creatures, and entire civilizations are there as well. So yeah, it's a lot, but it's going to be very, really interesting.
I'm excited because I just know as a player, I'm so not familiar because so much of the stuff that you get a chance to play in as a D&D player is it is very familiar, and that's good to a certain extent. So this is going to be brand new, and I think and this is what we're most excited about. It's what makes us unique, So for people who are going to come to our live stream, hopefully, like, anyone can enjoy this. If you've never played D&D, we're going to make it, sheer entertainment value for you to enjoy. If you are familiar with D&D, we're going to take you to a part of Faerun, the planet, that almost is never explored. And I can't think of a live stream out there that's bringing this to a bigger audience. So it's really a fun opportunity to be entertained and to see something completely unique and original as we go. So really, oh man, I don't want to move on from the emails without shouting out my birthday.
Oh my
gift.
goodness. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. My birthday gift. I just got it. Hold on.
Yes.
I got a collection of coasters from my wonderful friends. And Rachel made them spearing these, so thank you very much. I've got amazing coasters to set my drinks on for when we live stream, all dedicated to our Dice Cast Gaming Twitch. So again, thank you. And I got to show those off because they're rad. I shared a picture of these with Lindsay and Jake, and they're like, I want it. I want it.
I want the keychains. I want the stickers. I want the plushie.
Anyway.
There was a question in the chat, if you don't mind if I
go ahead, please.
Yeah.
John B asked how many episodes, and Lindsay responded with hypothetically into level 20. I think what a cool opportunity, and when you get to play D&D too, or if you do play D&D, you kind of have like this decision as a dungeon master of, okay, so how do I range, or how do I set up leveling for my players? Do I do it on experience based? So like if you fight this monster, then they give you 200 experience, and if you do this task, you get 100, and you kind of stack up an amount. And once you reach a certain level, or a threshold, you level up, and that's experience based. Whereas there's also milestone, which is what we're doing. And what I really like about milestone is that, yes, level 20 is the top level. It is the highest. You're kind of doing world and shaking events, and maybe even multiverse events. Whereas with milestone, you can actually say, all right, so what are the players doing? What are the heroes doing? Is this going to be on like a regional level? Is this on a town level? And you can scale appropriately. So if what might end up being as far as they get is level 11, and that's like on a regional level. So that might even be the case. And that's why I think going milestone really lends itself to telling a story, as opposed to kind of crunching through the XP.
Yeah, that's and for those that are less familiar with D&D, we're going to start out at level 1, which everyone says is like, look, this is probably your great chance of dying. Level 1 is no joke. It's not hard. You're not strong. You can't take a lot of damage and abuse.
You might not have weapons yet.
Yeah, you're not really, you haven't come into your own as a skilled fighter, adventurer, etc. So you're kind of new, to this sort of stuff. So level 1 is always a precarious time, but it's exciting. It's when you get to really get your characters out there for the first time. So if you can make it past level 1, which hopefully you do quickly, your odds of survival typically tend to go up until you get towards maybe the end game, and then they go back down again, probably.
But it's cool that you are at level, even at level 1, you're exceptional. Like you are exceptional, like compared to someone who's just a guard, like a regular guard, one of the normies, I guess you can say. You are like special, which is what I love about D&D. Even at the lowest possible level, you're still special.
Yeah, before you hit level 20, like God status.
Right.
It's fun because it's what always cracks me up is like, town guards are on, the palisade and they're saying, you can't come in here. And you see all these guards with spears that are like commoners. And like, you look at their, their stat blocks and they have 4 hit points. And like, even at level 1, it's like, I have 13 hit points. And I'm like, I could take out an army of these commoners and just absolutely wreck them. And I like that scale. Yeah, I won't. I swear I'm good.
Not very virtuous of you. What
I would never do that. I'm not a tiefling. Wah. Just kidding.
Hey, now, chaotic neutral. Chaotic neutral.
Let's take it. I'm going to take a quick second and just say hi to some people in the chat, and thank you again for joining us. This is really fun. We love nerding out about this, and we're super excited about Monday. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your questions. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
We've given you kind of an overview of where we're going to be playing, the Watch City Yalash over in the Border Kingdoms. And I know Jake's super excited. It's a big deal because like what Jake's doing with Ed and Alex, who created this part of the world. I mean, that's like getting a sign off on George Lucas. Like, hey, I have an interesting character. It's called Jar Jar Binks. And George Lucas is, I love it. We're putting it in. That's kind of, but we're going to have a better than Jar Jar Binks product, obviously. But that's kind of like what Jake's been able to do here. And he's going to, his stuff that he's come up with is going to be canon for D&D. So it's really, really amazing. And we're really, really happy for you, Jake. It's super excited to see what you come up with. So no doubt Ed and Alex would be impressed. So we learned about Yalash, the Watch City. We talked about the characters and how we're all going to come together. You've got a little preview here of our logo and our obviously our character art and our emotes and everything else that we've got all set up for you. And I think that just real quickly, because DC was in the chat. DC Lasair is our technical director, and I think when me and Jake first started talking about this, like this was an idea that we had that we were so excited about, and then a year later, here we are. So there's so much more involved, and having a technical director behind the scenes running, OBS studios or Streamlabs or whatever he's using to be able to make sure our audio is great, our video is great. I know, Jake, you've had all these custom maps and like animated maps that are just, you gave us a little taste that I'm not going to have a spoiler because maybe it was just a sample, but we were playing the other night on like a little tech rehearsal and there was this incredible map and there was like a little fire and like the fire was crackling and you could see the animated fire effects. And I'm like, that's incredible. Like, I don't know a single stream out there that's incorporating this stuff in this way.
Are you allowed to say the platform we're using, Jake?
Oh yeah, of course. We're using Foundry Virtual Tabletop. Oh man, Jordan, that's really sweet of you. Thank you so much. So we're using Foundry, and it's an awesome sort of like open source tabletop. I've used Roll20. I like Roll20. I've used a couple other ones as well, like some more like offshoot ones. But I just like the open source nature of Foundry, and I'm not a programmer and like that, but goodness gracious, they do a lot of really, really cool stuff that, I mean, I jive with using audio right when you get into combat, so you don't have to set it up, or clicking on a token and being able to see only what that token can see. So if someone's hiding around the corner, you can't really know that they're there. So even to the point where Chad, like Lindsay, if you guys get like a condition of like blind on you, I can make it so you can't see.
Yeah.
Your token literally can't see. So there's no player knowledge. You have to just kind of roll with it, and it's a different type of storytelling. And if I had more than what I have of Dwarven Forge, which is like one little set, I'd love to do that. But I'm not a builder in that way.
Right.
So Foundry supports that for me, which is
and it's great. And I think that what's really, really gonna be fun is and I've talked with, even in our initial conversations, Jake and Lindsay, you watch the live D&D live streams that are out there, and it's always entertaining. It's D&D, like it's improv, it's role play, it's always entertaining no matter what. But the easiest way to do it is just to have like 4 or 5 disembodied heads talking about D&D. And then that's kind of how most of those live streams go. And, I know, Jake, me and you committed very early on to be like, no, we want to give the full D&D experience. We want them to see the amazing art. We want the audiences to see the incredible maps. We want them to see the combat field and to watch our little tokens representing us, bopping around the combat battlefield and doing what we do. And, incorporating the music and the transitions and, animated maps is such a great touch to help people really feel like they're in it with you, And I thought the visual and audio component was so important. It's how I like to watch. It's how I like to play. It's what I do for the games that I run and the games that I enjoy the most when I play in them. So it probably added about 6 to 8 months to our launch schedule. Yeah. But I think that it's just going to be a fantastic, product, that we can all be proud of and really enjoy as a result. It's a lot of work. Well,
like the thing that we talked about especially is, and then, that I then, chatted with Lindsay about when I was trying to coax her into joining us.
There was no coaxing involved. He said, "Do you want?" And I said, "Yes."
Yeah, that's fair. It's cool because there are so many other streams that you could watch, and I hope folks do. I hope folks, this opens up the floodgates for people who have never watched D&D to watch other ones too. I just think that it's also like, why not give it a shot, in the best way possible? That's also different. I mean, look, if I hadn't done this before, I wouldn't be doing it just to be different. I play this way. I played this way for the past 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So I've worked on this. I've tweaked it. I've kind of like massaged it, and we're gonna try it for the first time really on stream for us. And maybe there might be like a road bump or two, but God, we have a great foundation, and I think where we're going is gonna be a lot of fun. And it also doesn't help that, my God, like the most pretty people I have ever seen playing D&D, and then there's me DMing it. So y'all are welcome. Enjoy really attractive people playing D&D who are also talented.
And I think that was, one of the things that me, Jake, and Lindsay talked about early on. It's like, we know so many talented people. We know so many talented people who love D&D. And, Lindsay and does so much amazing voice work, and just actors, entertainers who understand the medium, who can really fill in the gaps and do the role play and the improv and just lend something unique to the characters who also love D&D. So that was kind of our goal, is to bring, we live in Los Angeles and we're pretty spoiled for knowing talented people across all arenas. So we're like, why not bring whoever's interested together to we're not trying to be Critical Role. We're not trying to beat Critical Role. We're our own thing. But we love that we can bring some people who happen to play pretend for a living once in a while, all together, right. Because that always lends itself to a better D&D experience, because so much of this is figuring it out as you go, and this is really fun. And I'm going to tease, and I'm going to say this, Jake, so don't blush. Jake is really good at character voices, and the DM's job is the hardest because you control everyone else except the players. You control the monsters, you control the shopkeepers, the city guards, anything, the monarchs, anybody you can imagine, anybody and anything you can imagine. All that voice work is going to come from Jake, and I can't wait, because we've been thoroughly entertained by some of the stuff he's come up with just in our little tests. So you're all in for a treat, and that's actually kind of trying to answer one of the questions that came through the chat, asking me if I was going to use a different voice, or everybody. Are we going to use different voices?
I think I'm the only one using a different voice, quote unquote. At least, well, I don't know. I'm trying to remember back to our session 0. Is Andi doing a different voice? Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
And also,
yeah, you'll see some fun stuff.
Milynn is not that, in
no,
her real
Milynn,
life.
no,
Yeah.
she is definitely a different personality. So
yes.
Well, and that was the thing we talked about when we came together, and which is why we were so insistent on it being entertainers, is that streaming D&D is entertainment. It's very different than our home games where like we're probably a couple beers in and probably talking about what we did for the week and, you know, having jokes on the side and side conversations. Like, no, this needs to be really locked in, and we are performing for you guys, you know?
Yeah. For me, like, I mean, Chad, we know obviously from like Call of Duty and like Sniper and like the, awesome TV work too. Lindsay voiceover for like so many awesome, amazing things. You probably have killed her often. I've as far as like entertainment goes, like I've done some TV and whatnot, but a lot of what I've done previously is theater. I'm a classically trained actor. I have improv comedy for years. I'm a former professional wrestler. So I kind of have like a really weird, wild, eclectic background that I just constantly have these characters and voices and you know, like I'm doing shit, you know, in my theater conservatory that has got me ready to be a DM. So, you know, student loans, well worth it.
So who knew the groundlings would lead to D&D, you know?
Right.
Like
well, it opens it up for everyone to play, and you don't need to, if you're doing it at home too, you don't need to do character voices even to that point if you don't want to. But if you look at it, I always look at what a character wants. Like, what does this NPC want? What, you know, what makes them happy? What makes them sad?
What are your given circumstances, Jake?
I wasn't trying to be so inside baseball, but yes, what are your given circumstances? But yeah, it really comes down to, oh yeah, thank you, Rita. It's really the inside that counts, where my heart is clogged. No, I'm kidding. I'm pretty healthy. Yeah, it's kind of like figure out what this character wants, and then that makes those relationships more believable.
Yeah. And I'll just tease like I'm not gonna go full British accent or anything like that, but there, you know, you try to just imagine the time and the circumstances. You know, this is fantasy medieval, so to try and kind of ground it, you know, with like a gruff kind of soldier background, but also an eternal optimist. So I think that there's, you know, it's still going to be my voice. I'm not going to go, you know, bonkers and try to throw some sort of wacky like Australian accent or something in there, or like Cockney, but I'm gonna, you know, you'll give it a little life, and I think all of us will do that. You find yourself naturally doing that so often when you play D&D, really, because you get to know your character inside and out, and you just kind of find that a voice comes. And
well, and I've done some games where I've done some like, because I do a lot of creature work, so I've done some like really charactery voices, and I'm like, we're playing at 7:30 at night. I've been recording all day. I don't want to be doing a character like this, which I've done before. And I'm like, no, not for this game. So I'm going to throw an accent on, but we're not going to do crazy creature voices.
That's so fun. Yeah. Well, Jake, Lindsay, thank you. We'll look and comb the chat for. We've been trying to be good about answering any questions that have come up, but anybody who's got questions, fire them over. We'd love to answer them for you. You know, even if you're new to D&D or a new player, if you've got just basic questions, please let us know if there's anything we can answer for you now. That'll help you enjoy the stream that much more. We're super happy to, and I think that we're also planning on, hopefully at the end of our streams, you know, and I think generally what we've agreed to is we're going to have a solid 2 hours of like totally immersive, uninterrupted gameplay, and then maybe try to open it up for a little Q&A, you know, or really just talk about what happened in the session, or maybe try to explain some things that unfolded to keep new viewers like kind of up to speed with what went down and why and how this all comes together and works. So we really want to make this as user-friendly, new to D&D friendly as possible. But if you got questions now, we'd love to take a look, see if we can answer. There's one from Lottie. How do you handle curveballs from players, Jake?
So I guess it depends on kind of like what do you mean by curveball? So I would say probably if someone goes right when I expect them to go left, the beauty of being a DM in that way too is you can take whatever was right, kind of put a new sticker on it, and then make it left, if it makes sense. For me, I hate my free time, so I do a lot of contingencies. And also and so that my wife also sees me sometimes, I do also lean heavily into improvisation. I think it really comes down to, where am I? What are we doing? What's going on right now? And if somebody asks me a question that I wasn't expecting, I go, well, I know what's going on. So clearly this is how I would respond. Like, this is the news of the day, or this is the state of things in this space. Sorry if that was a little too general, but I try to handle them with appreciation, because God, whatever you plan is good, but what these folks come up with in the moment is always the magic. And that's where you have to, as a DM, be like, okay, this is my part now, where I get to, in turn, hopefully do some magic back.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a great question. And I know that Lottie is going to be running her first game. And for those that know, I know we're throwing around a lot of acronyms and stuff. DM equals Dungeon Master or Game Master. And that is the person in charge, the person who is running, like I mentioned earlier. It's the narrator, it's the rules lawyer, it's the referee, it's controlling all the monsters and the NPCs, which are non-player characters. So when we roll into a tavern, the innkeeper, that's considered a non-player character, whereas like me and Lindsay will be playing player characters, PCs.
For people who play video games, that should also be familiar PC to you. NPC. Your NPCs, your PC.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how, you get so immersed in a game like this, and you're speaking as if people know.
Like,
and I find myself having to catch.
Yeah, it's like the army. You're like, I don't actually know what I'm saying. I just know the acronym.
Yeah. I ran up and like my whole party was down and it was going to be a TPK, and I ran up and I dropped a 20 and I totally crit smite and whatever. People are like, I'm sorry, what just happened? Yeah. TPK. It's like, oh, sorry, total party kill. Sorry. Yeah. So it's really you'll all learn more of this fancy D&D talk as we go. But I'm going to try to comb here for the questions. CMC India. It's in the crawler here. Monday night, the 19th, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's when we're going to kick off our first episode. Lottie is very grateful for the help. She's worried about having to play with her siblings. We will put them in timeout. Yeah, right. Give them a little timeout. Will we see facial expressions on all of you during your stream for when things get so intense and fun? I think it's hard not to. Like, quite honestly, we're all gonna have our mugs up there for better or worse. So you're gonna be able to you see us reacting in real time to whatever fresh hell Jake has planned for us. So I think that just is gonna come with the territory, whether we like it or not. Yeah. And you might see some fun get-ups and like some costumes.
Yeah, Milynn, I have horns. I will say I am not painting my face purple. I did that for another stream. I was playing Veldikin and I painted myself blue. And I will not do that again. Yeah, it's not worth it. I apologize, folks. No. I will not be painting myself purple, but I do have some fun horns.
No.
I will wear a costume for every single NPC that I play.
Well, geez, then our stream is going to be 6 hours.
I'm also lying.
A stream of wardrobe changes. Like, we'll be right back again. 10 minutes.
That sounds more like a other type of subscription-based model that starts
Lottie, with we will be putting these up on YouTube, and I think you can watch on Twitch. What is it, 5 days after or a week after? Like for those of you in the Europe and the UK.
DC will also probably make sure that that's up on the show notes and everything. So
yes, absolutely. And here we go. Jeff's got a question here. Will there be any? Yeah. Okay. So we kind of answered that. Will there be any character cosplay? I'm lucky. I was smart about this, man. I made a character that looks just like me. I can't grow a mustache, but maybe I'll buy a prop one because I just not.
Dude, we've talked about that. You better do it. You better do it.
So we will. We'll see how that plays out. If someone sends a maid outfit, will Jake wear it for the stream? Yeah, that's definitely. When we get
if
big
it's
enough
made
for Patreon,
if it's
and
made for
OnlyFans,
me,
we can talk
Yeah.
about that. In the
Yes.
meantime.
So for those of you who don't know, Jake's, I don't have your business card. Jake's business card literally says tall on it. He's
Yeah.
a very big man. Very
Yeah, I
big
love- he
man.
is
What does
tall.
it say? It's like actor,
writer.
something. Actor,
tall.
writer, tall.
Yes. You are tall. You are a tall gentleman, sir.
I'm a very large person.
Well, you're an ex-professional wrestler. I really.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, it's
what is
okay, John. I have got more than enough swords for everybody. I can lend Chad a sword if he needs
Yeah.
one.
I love this question from John. Am I going to be less salty than on my Call of Duty sessions? I'm sorry. Call of Duty is a hard game. Sometimes I get a little salty on my streams because I just get blasted so much by 10-year-olds.
Mally will be salty for sure. I'm just putting that out there.
We
You
are by
know,
the sea, so
We are by the
we're gonna
sea
keep it. We discussed this the other week. We're going to keep it
We
mostly
did.
clean. We're going to keep this as PG-13.
Yes.
Or as close to it, allowing for certain things to, go wrong or bonkers. But we're gonna keep it clean. It'll be younger person friendly.
Yeah.
So
I
we'll do
will
our
look for
best.
alternate things to say
Yeah.
when I am mad.
Yeah, Mally's inspiration is a pirate, but we're not gonna curse like pirates all stream.
No.
I don't think that's the plan anyway.
And I will try to be mostly sober.
Yeah. So Jen, I think we
I'm
answered
just kidding, Jake.
I
I'm
know,
just
I
kidding.
know,
You
I
give
know,
me
I
this
know.
look like.
give me a moment. I was like,
Yeah, I think we answered Jen's question here.
Yeah.
If it's a screen of the game table. Yeah. So we're using what's called a virtual tabletop. And Jake was elaborating about this. It's a program called Foundry where, it's more top-down bird's eye view. But we will on our stream be able to like screen share, like transition to a big map that you can take a look at. You'll see us up there. When we're in combat, we'll put down a really fun animated battle map, and you'll see little tokens representing the monsters or the bad guys and us good guys, and etc. So really, it's all digital. We're not meeting in person. We're all connecting over Zoom and stuff like that. So but it's going to make for a more immersive kind of experience, which is going to be really fun. And is there any other questions that people are seeing here? Yeah, John was offering to ship the sword. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Lindsay's got more sword photos than me, to be fair. So
Yeah.
I just have the one.
I do fight
One time.
competitively in sword fighting, so it is a thing that I do.
Yeah,
Also, it's
John
a pain to
collects
ship
swords.
swords. I have learned this.
John collects swords. He's always
I want to see pictures
adding
of your
extra
swords, John.
I have a custom-made lightsaber, but that's a little.
I
out
also
of,
have a
That's more like
custom
Spelljammer.
lightsaber. Yay.
Jeff is encouraged to push PG-13 as hard as we can. There's going to be some moments. There's going to be
What is
some
it?
moments.
PG-13. You're allowed like 2 F words in a movie or a TV show.
Fun
Yes.
and friends.
And we are at 7. Oh no, we're at prime time. Never mind. Okay.
All right, what we got here? Collection eventually. Yeah, John only has 9 swords, and Lottie is looking best in a custom lightsaber. Who is?
What do I have? I think mine's an ultra saber.
Amazing.
I don't even remember now. It's
I
like-
had I had ours made for our wedding party when we got married.
Well, that's right. That's
Oh my
right. You're
gosh.
amazing. What I've seen your photos. They're so cool. Star
also
Wars
ha-
wedding.
I also hate money, so I bought all my groomsmen lightsabers. So I hate having money.
YOLO.
But what is the purpose of money if you can't spend it on fun,
Indeed.
geeky stuff?
That's
I mean, I will say I
That's
have
true.
probably spent an embarrassingly amount of money on my dice collection because I am a dice goblin and I have contributed to way too many Kickstarters. And And when I look
No.
at it, I know.
Look at
Oh
that.
no, I should bring my whole container out. I've got this cool container that like has slide drawers for all my dice. And yes,
It's tucked away right now, but
yes.
yeah. Anybody who starts playing D&D for the first time,
You have that thing. You either collect minis or you collect dice, or there's usually something that's your thing,
Or all of it.
or all of it, which is I think the
all
case
of
for
it.
DMs a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get your I don't have it on my PC, but I think Lindsay, did you go on Hero Forge and make a Mally?
I
Or no?
did. Oh, can I share that?
thought
Oh, maybe
so.
I can. I
Maybe
did do
you
a
can.
Mally. Let me see if I can
I'd
do
love
this.
if you could.
Hold
Yeah, I
on.
don't-
Yeah, so Hero Forge is a fun thing to do. Let me see if I can open Mally. Okay, here we go. So share screen.
See if it works.
Share screen.
We just talk Hero Forge for a minute.
There's a quick question to answer here. Will there be lots of pet shenanigans and cameos
Am I
on
sharing?
stream?
Probably, yes. My cat, for anyone who's watched my previous streams and my talk show, my cats always make an appearance. Am I sharing?
Wow.
It
Yeah,
was
it's,
sharing, but you're
Inception.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Our heads are exploding.
Okay,
That's
there we go.
there it is. That was yeah. So I made a post the other day because I just I had an hour or an hour and a half to burn, which is rare, and I went on a site called Hero Forge, where you can completely customize a miniature. And this is Mally. This is
so all
Lindsay's
the everything's been customized, the colors, the hair, the teeth. I tried to match what the artist did because it was just so good. So I did order her. She'll be here, I don't know, probably this week or next week, I guess now. So yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I
undo screen sharing.
Okay. Thank you for helping with that because I don't know. And here is I'll do that.
I did it.
Hold on. What is this? Share screen. Here we go. This one. Oh, it's making me do garbage all over again. Okay. And there's Alexi. Happy-go-lucky Alexi. I tried to add a little splash of like Tamora, kind of like a blue-green, a little green gemstone kind of embedded in his plate armor there that you could see a trace of. But standard Paladin stuff.
Yeah.
Beefy armor. Although that's probably plate armor, and for sure Jake's not going to let me start with plate armor because that's
No.
It costs a fortune. So, but this is Alexi. We hope to get him here. But like a little wry smile and a little notch. Like I couldn't get a notch scarring like Alex from Call of Duty in the side of his hair, so I put it on his eyebrow instead. Like it maybe took a little axe to the face once, gave him a little eyebrow haircut. So this is fun. I've got this coming to me. I had to pull the trigger. I had to have.
I know, same.
So, it'll be representing with us, here soon. But this is it's just a fun feature. D&D is just.
And with Hero Forge, I contributed to their Kickstarter, of course, back in the day. But they added the feature where you can get it 3D printed with color, and I am not a painter. I'm not an artist. I have friends who are like exceptional mini painters, and I'm like, nope. So I did buy the 3D printed with color version, and I'm sure my painting friends will look at them and be like, this is shit, and they will repaint them, which they have done for some of my other characters.
This is not great. Oh, sorry.
Same. No, go ahead, Jake.
This is not great for the blurriness, but I'll try. So I was going to say, if you don't get it printed in color, my partner, my wife, she is an incredible mini painter.
Okay, well now I'll just order the. Oh wait, does she have a 3D printer? Because you can order the 3D printed file for like super cheap.
Oh no, we don't have a 3D printer yet.
Okay.
But she's actually a professional painter. She has a degree in color theory.
I might have to get a plain one for her to paint.
Take my money.
So we have a lot of amazingly painted minis, and then mine. So I've stopped. And she just doesn't know. But this was a character from a Curse of Strahd campaign, a turtle warlock.
Warlock. That's amazing.
For those who don't know what a turtle is, it is like what it sounds. It's a turtle character. So think Ninja Turtles, Yeah.
But very, very evil.
I have gifted like high-end, really well done, painted minis to friends. People I play in D&D campaigns with and stuff. We all know, our friend Liz is an incredibly talented artist. I like to dabble in paint. I don't do too bad of a job, but I'm certainly no expert. I think it's fascinating, and I think it's a lot of fun. It's very zen. It takes forever because you're so trying not to screw up. But it is such a fun little hobby.
Brushes.
Yeah, very tiny little pokes here. A happy little pupil, and that's the D&D painting world, Bob Ross style. So, well, listen, I'm going to wrap this up. I love that so many people came to learn about our stream. Thank you all. You've been wonderful with the support online. We can't wait to bring this to you. I've been talking about this for a year, man. I remember when I did the D&D podcast, like the official Wizards D&D
Oh my
podcast.
God, that was so
I was like,
long ago
yeah,
now.
we're going to be debuting in March or like April or whatever. And I was like, but then
and
we
I
ran
think
into a million problems.
for San Diego Comic-Con, I think on my panel I announced that we were doing it. I was like, coming soon.
Yeah.
Everyone gets it. It's cool. So thanks everyone for your patience. We really wanted to make sure that what we're bringing you is the best. So I think we're gonna pleasantly surprise all of you. So Monday coming in hot, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Sorry for all the friends overseas. I know that is at an absurd hour for you all, but please check the replay or watch it on YouTube. Because we want you to keep up to speed. And if our schedule ever gets more flexible, we can hopefully bring something to you at a more reasonable hour when we go live. So, but in the meantime, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jake, Lindsay, for taking time this morning to talk about your characters, to talk about our campaign, the settings, our stream in general, and to answer questions from our lovely chatters. So, all right, everybody, we'll see you Monday when we finally roll for initiative.
That's right. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
All right, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you on the next one.